Wonder who that could be. Welcome to Video Hell Show. I'm Frank, and this is the coronavirus quarantine special. Hey everybody, like I said, my name is Frank, and today this is going to be the coronavirus quarantine special coming to you from my pantry here. This is where I just make sure I guard all of our stuff from intruders and make sure that nobody's going to come take my shit. As you can see, I have a decent supply of paper products over here. Not trying to hoard, but also not trying to be unprepared if I have to not be able to go outside my house for the next 2 months, I guess, like the rest of you. So everybody stay classy. Don't get too much shit, I guess, but I say that with 2 things of paper towels behind me. But that's all I have. I only have 2 things of paper towels. And I only have 1 big old thing of fucking toilet paper. So hopefully that does it, or I'm just going to have to jump in the shower and wash my ass off like somebody in the 1800s. Today, we're going to talk about a movie that's gotten some buzz just recently, something that's very near and dear to my heart, a classic film that you probably won't be able to find anywhere. Today we're going to talk about Robot in the Family. Holy shit, this movie is fucking, it's one of the craziest things. I mean, I keep saying that, and I up the ante almost every time it seems like that I've watched a movie so far. And I'm going to hopefully keep on that particular uptick, because this movie is indescribable. I'm just going to I have so much. I was taking so many notes while watching this movie that my wrist was hurting, and I had to keep taking breaks because I couldn't keep up with writing. And I actually had to watch it 2 times just to make sure I got everything, and that I actually could watch the movie and make sure I could see scenes, because I was writing things and I would be missing something going on screen. So I had to watch this piece of shit twice just to make sure I got everything. This is one of my favorite So Bad It's Good movies, even though honestly it makes your head hurt. So to give you an idea of how weird this is, it starts off in Mecca. This movie is called Robot in the Family. Very first cold open scene, we got a chyron on the bottom that says we're in Mecca, and we get a shot of this helmet, and I think it even mentions that it's the helmet of Solomon, Solomon's helmet. King Solomon, you know, biblical King Solomon. We witness a robbery of this helmet. This helmet gets stolen from Mecca, and that's the cold open. Cut from the cold open to the opening titles, where we get some, honestly, what I find to be badass open music. Flashing off the lights, but technical device with a rhythmical mechanic. Like, this shit was jamming. I really like this opening song. Hopefully it's not being used anywhere. I might end up using it in other places. It's fucking great. This opening song is amazing, and we get like B-roll of gears and things moving. We get the robot feel finally. So you know, juxtaposed to the seemingly out of place cold open in Mecca, stealing a ancient helmet, we get robot gears, electronics, things going, lights blinking, to this really awesome, seemingly original music. Ready for a spin. All systems check. Such a nice little piece of high tech. Go dig up. All systems clear. I think it's original. I don't know. I gotta look actually a little bit more into that. But at least this title sequence makes sense in the context of Robot in the Family. So I guess we'll get there here in a sec. And we get some really interesting VO from our protagonist.
Gold digger. Oh, gold digger, come to my life. Yes, I'm going to finish you, and you are going to make me rich. You will bring me luck. Gold digger, you are alive.
By the way, is Joe Pantoliano from such things as being the boss in the Bad Boys franchise, or to being Cypher in The Matrix. You know Joe Pantoliano. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's a household, if not a household name, a household face. And he... How do I put this? In this movie, I believe he's meant to play a Middle Eastern gentleman.
Ryan, did you know that last year alone, Americans spent over $100 million on home security? But was it effective? No, right? They stole your bicycle.
They are not specific, I don't think, at any point exactly about where he's from. But he is doing what today would be considered one of the most offensive Middle Eastern portrayals, one of the most racist and offensive portrayals of a Middle Eastern man that I've ever witnessed. It is, I can't even come up with a word for it. It is one of the craziest fucking things.
All your circuits are functioning, your arms are working, your legs, your backbone, your central nervous system. You will be as gentle as a butterfly, brave as a lion. You will be loaded with horsepower and 100% American.
Like, it's unbelievably crazy that this is what's going on already in the movie. So we find out immediately from this VO that the robot's name is Gold Digger.
Gold Digger, oh Gold Digger, come to my life. Gold Digger, you are alive. You will be protector and a gold detector. You will bring me all the gold, and if you are ever in danger, you call police right away.
Then I think it breaks into immediately he starts randomly saying a lot of stuff. He rambles. You'll find out throughout the movie, this robot has a lot to say, but about nothing in particular.
If I am working, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to revolutionize our planet and make you rich. I will bring love and happiness to your family and the world.
So keep that in mind. The dialogue is insane. It rambles, like he just says word vomit. And then we get an in-bed scene with Joe Pantoliano and wife about the fact that he is an antique dealer.
Mommy, that's my toy.
Jack, your gadgets did it again.
Christina, I'm just about to finish my invention.
You're an antique dealer, not an inventor, and we're on our way to bankruptcy.
That's apparently not doing so well in his business of choice, but then also he's an inventor, a creator. Like, so this character, they don't give defined character lines.
But I hate antiques.
Honey, you promised after my father died that you'd give up these crazy inventions and take care of his house and business. Now get up, honey, get up.
Like, this guy is supposed to be an antique dealer, and that's his main business, but then he also is an inventor that invents robots and shit. It's all over the place. Like, you figure if he was an antique dealer, he'd be that. Or if he was an inventor, he'd be that. Like, when Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out, they didn't make Rick Moranis' character a fucking inventor and, like, an archaeologist. They just made him an inventor, right? And that gave you, like, a core foundation for his character. I don't know what came first, but if they were going for that in this, swing and a miss, dude. I believe this came out in 1995. If not, I'll note down here at the bottom of the screen whether or not I'm wrong. And so that would have been afterwards. You figure they could have learned the lesson from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids about that he should just be one thing. But I guess because he was an antique dealer, he couldn't have invented a robot, so he had to also be an inventor so that he could have the robot, and the robot was going to help him with his antiques, but that's not what the robot's really fully designed to do. Oh, Jesus. So this first in-bed scene that I was just talking about a second ago and trailed off on has some of the craziest. We get right off the bat that this movie's going to have the shittiest ADR you've ever fucking seen.
Gold Digger, today is the day.
Today is Friday.
Mr. Marshall, Mr. Texan, you're gonna come, gonna buy Remington. Bail me out.
A very valuable antique.
ADR is inexplicably shitty.
Gold Digger, I tell you, watch the car. Come back, you don't have a license. Gold Digger.
Between ADR and Foley and other sound effects, that whoever was doing this was just drinking so much fucking, like, wild turkey. He was just wasted out of his fucking mind the whole time while he was making this, or he was high on cocaine. Like, I don't know what happened during the sound editing, mixing, and editing process of this film, but whoever was involved, there was like a huge discrepancy. There was a lot of something going on. Got to bring up the fact that this Joe Pantoliano's whole character is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Shut up!
I mean, Joe Pantoliano is very Italian. At that point, I'm assuming there were Middle Eastern actors that could have picked up a role. Maybe not, considering how we still have misrepresentation in Hollywood to a degree now, but I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I guess back in the 80s and 90s it wasn't a thing. But by today's standards, watching his character on screen, there's something about it that fucking hurts.
Intruder,
I'm your daddy.
malfunction,
No, it's daddy.
Every single time he says words. And what's crazy about it is he had to do that shit live, so I wonder what it sounded like live versus when he had to do it in a booth. And if they made him make it that way. Not only is he supposed to be playing a Middle Eastern man, but a Middle Eastern guy who's also an alcoholic or has a speech impediment. I don't fucking know, but something's wrong with the way he talks. So Joe Pantoliano's character's name is Jack, and Jack gets his family together to unveil the robot Gold Digger.
I, your daddy, and you all love very much, have answered to the nation's greatest crime epidemic. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Gold Digger!
As soon as he unveils this robot, he just starts blathering uncontrollably and immediately about like anything and everything he possibly can.
Hi, Mommy. I'm your new home security robot and your sixth child.
He's already apparently pre-programmed to know the kids' names.
Hi, Mikey. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Alex.
Wow, that's neat, Dad.
Hi, Richie. Hi, Cindy. Hello, my new family.
So he has so many functions. He's not just a single function robot. He could come out and say he's a multifunction robot, but he always likes to state exactly everything that he does.
I am programmed to cook, clean, and do whatever your heart desires. I vacuum, dust, walk the dog, wash the dishes.
So he finds gold, he's a protection robot, he's an information gatherer. They say things like he's just one thing, but then he does a billion things. Makes no fucking sense at all. Whoever made this was definitely not thinking about it. And we established right in the beginning a really funny joke that runs throughout actually the whole movie that I really kind of enjoyed, that if you scream around Gold Digger, it automatically calls the police.
The red light lets you know if you are ever in any danger. If that ever happened, then the green light will go on once you yell, "Ah!"
Dialing 911.
Green. Kids too, you scream, and Gold Digger automatically gonna dial 911, police emergency line.
But I don't believe not once it actually calls the police. It always places wrong phone calls.
Hello, someone daddy, you got order? Hello?
I have to make a few adjustments.
So that's pretty fucking funny, honestly. That's one of the only really great, funny, actual jokes that's continuing as a runner throughout the whole film. So it establishes that really early. That's okay. They did that right, at least. For some reason, Jack thinks that everybody in the country is going to want one of these gold digger machines. Meanwhile, it's fucking massive, and it's actually kind of creepy because it looks like a random mishmash of a junkyard blew up and then was somehow arranged this way by random chance.
I am programmed to take orders, but I'd much rather play with you kids.
Gold Digger, don't go outside. Go upstairs.
You want me to go upstairs?
It looks like absolute garbage. Somehow he thinks that everybody's going to want one of these. I mean, the novelty of having your own robot is pretty cool, and he was right about that, because we're about to get there anyway now. But, I mean, he was going about it all the wrong way. And I'm not going to lie, the robot doesn't seem, it's supposed to be smart, but all the time, you can't tell what it is, and it doesn't seem to be particularly intelligent most of the time. It just seems to be rambling and continuing on doing whatever the hell it wants to do, I guess.
Oh, I have found the gold for my daddy. I'm gonna make him rich. Gold, solid gold. My daddy's gonna be so proud of me. At present, gold is worth $400 an ounce.
Hey, you!
The symbol for gold is AU.
That's mine!
This mailbox is worth $2.5 billion.
Mechanical abortion!
Hello. Whoa, a monster!
When the robot tells the kid that it's his new brother, bro, I was straight up terrified by that. It was somehow supposed to be endearing, but it's fucking terrifying.
Hi, Mommy.
And this robot, they clarify from the very beginning that it's supposed to be a protector, but it keeps on going, Mommy, help me! Daddy, help me! Mommy, Daddy!
Gold Digger.
Good morning,
All right,
Daddy.
now, Gold Digger.
Daddy,
No.
Eli is a bad guy.
And that's not something you want from something that's supposed to be protective. That seems childlike. So if it's going to be a child, how is it going to be protecting anybody? Because children don't protect, they need protection. I mean, unless you got a kid with a shotgun, but then I'd still be worried. So that literally makes zero fucking sense. It's contradictory from its very nature. So that right there, somebody had been like, dude, this in the script, this shit doesn't make sense. Right here, dude. The director, someone, script supervisor, somebody should be like, this, right here. We're doing this on screen, right? This is what you're filming. It doesn't make fucking sense. They should have done something about that. So we come to find out that also, I can't remember the actor's name right now, so I feel terrible about that, but the guy who plays Salah from Indiana Jones, and he was also Gimli from Lord of the Rings, is in this fucking movie. He's the antagonist.
Inspector, I know that you are only doing your duty, but Get that walking Christmas tree out of here!
Inspector, all the time this man is trying to discredit my good name. And why?
Why?
Why? Because he is jealous of my achievements.
He's the bad guy in this film, which, I mean, I won't say he was A-list or B-list. I don't know exactly where he would have fallen in the 90s, but he was in, you know, Indiana Jones. Yeah, he does a lot of different movies, but at the same time, I can't believe he signed on to this. But I guess Joe Pantoliano did it. He was like, all right, fine. I mean, he's decent enough too. So I guess he thought it was a safe bet, but I don't know, man. He really probably should have ditched on this one. But anyway, let's call him Gimli. I'm gonna call him Gimli. We get a quick scene where Gold Digger gets introduced to Gimli. Gold Digger says that he has to go outside. He's gonna go protect the neighborhood, but he has to go get the paper first for Daddy.
I am programmed to protect the house, watch over the children, and keep an eye on the neighborhood. But first I have to get the newspaper for Daddy.
When he keeps calling, the robot keeps saying Daddy.
Daddy, 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 Daddy.
Yeah, I'm just swear to shit, this is so
Daddy.
creepy. I don't like it.
Daddy, Daddy, Daddy.
Again, by the standards of 2020,
Daddy, Daddy.
This robot continuously calling somebody Daddy is unacceptably creepy and not cool. Half the time when Joe Pantoliano talks in this film, you cannot understand what the fuck he's saying.
The hardware collection.
He's a fire for me like basement.
Like his ADR is just
The hardware collection. You're far from me like basement.
The sound mix is terrible. There's a number of instances where the levels are incorrect, like they're all the same height, so there's like background noise that's the same as the actors speaking, and you just can't, and he mumbles the lines. I don't know if he was embarrassed of it, so he just mumbled it. I don't know what the hell was going on. I feel like as an actor, he had to have been embarrassed about what the hell was on the page, so he may have just mumbled it out. Maybe the director was telling him to do that. I don't know what the fuck was happening here, but it's fucking embarrassing. There's a scene where Joe Pantoliano is driving his rip-off Honey, I Shrunk the Kids car.
Everybody back, then I can devote my time to you, and you're really gonna make us rich.
It honestly just looks like if you smash the Back to the Future car, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids van, and the Ecto-1 all together, it would be this piece of shit, and that's what he's driving. It's just this giant electronic, I guess, sort of piece of trash car, which Gold Digger can barely fit in. He's always just sitting in the back like, oh shit! The guy in the fucking character suit must have been like, dude, this is fucking uncomfortable. I gotta get out of here. He never hears live audio. Of course, they just have a light blinking in his mouth, and they ADR over it, so you can't see what the actor's doing, but I bet you that actor in that suit was fucking miserable. And during that car scene, we get a clear shot of the fact that it is a sunny day out.
Beautiful day. What could possibly go wrong?
I detect thunder, lightning.
And they are just obviously pouring water. Not even really like spraying it from sprayers. They're just pouring water onto the car so it looks like it's raining.
Of electricity building in the clouds above us. Water, mayday.
It's so fucking shitty.
Use your parachute, jump from this vehicle.
So Joe Pantoliano parks this car. I can't remember where the fuck exactly they were going.
Push, Gold Digger, push. We're gonna be missed the chance to meet a big cowboy gonna buy the whole shop.
I am currently utilizing all my horsepower.
But he parks the car, tells Gold Digger to watch the car and guard it.
Gold Digger, watch the car.
You're gonna kill me, man!
We get some ADR from the cop that he's gonna, like, he's been waiting for this car. Like, there's no establishment beforehand with this meaner maid or cop and Joe Pantoliano's character.
My favorite illegal vehicle.
But as we get this cop coming up to write apparently a ticket for the car that Joe Pantoliano just parked, he is saying something to the effect of, I've been like waiting for this car, he loves to write this car tickets, he loves this guy.
I gotta tow this puppy. They're never gonna believe me down at the garage. Holy cow, and no inspection sticker either.
He's gonna go to Disneyland on this car.
No wood, no registration. I'm going to Disney World on this puppy, baby. I told him I'd be back. Whoa.
Like he's talking about this like he's gonna make specifically like bonus money off of just giving a ticket to one car, which is not a thing in police work or meter mating. So I don't understand what the fuck that was supposed to be about. Aside from the fact that the stuff with the meter maid made no sense as he's coming up and giving these shit ADR lines, talking about crazy crap about this car and just blathering. He just keeps saying sentences again. Like everybody, I feel like the director or whoever was doing the sound or the ADR or the actual directing said, not 1 second of this movie cannot be filled with somebody saying words. We have to make sure people are talking almost all the time. Like he gave a couple moments of silence, but I shit you not. Most of it is people firing words out of their mouth that make like no sense, that aren't connected to anything, contextually mean nothing. And they just continue to talk. And the guy's like, yeah, as long as you're saying something, it's fine. Say whatever. And then, so this guy's writing the fucking ticket, and Gold Digger sees it and goes, I'm not gonna let that shit happen.
Uh-oh, I am programmed to protect the solar car.
I gotta get out and stop this. So he fucking electrocutes the cop to stop him getting the fucking ticket.
Now, Pally boy. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Tickle. Watch what I can do.
He like first starts talking to him, some weird shit, and then he just electrocutes the fucking cop. And this is something that continues to, again, and this is a reoccurrence. Gold Digger's like, I'm gonna give you a tickle, and we'll fucking electrocute you.
Give us a couple of dollars. Come on now. We've been pushing for 20 miles.
I do not have any money, but I can give you a little tickle.
Wow, man, what was that?
He's supposed to be a protector, meanwhile, and he just assaulted a police officer, and he electrocutes people.
Wow, man, what was that?
What the fuck? Right here, this should have been a crime, and this should have stopped. But this does not stop. At one point, I actually wrote in my notes, did a fucking alien write this? Like, who wrote this shit? Who thought that this was a thing that you could do and put to a page that you could put on screen and have people pay for? They should be prosecuted. So as the cop has just gotten electrocuted, he is crawling away and says something to the effect of, I knew I should have listened to my mom and been a proctologist.
That's city property! You can't, I worked hard to write those tickets. You ruined my vacation. I should have been a proctologist like my mom wanted me to be.
Everybody is riffing. The robot is riffing. People that are in the scenes are riffing. When shit happens to them, they might throw a riff joke in. It is a kid's movie at the end of the day, and I guess they had to throw some jokes in that adults would get, and there was a nod to that, maybe? I don't know, man. It's fucking so stupid. I think it's worth mentioning that every character that comes on screen is bigger, louder than the last character. Like, everything that comes up. Somebody's like, oh, I just saw that performance, and it wasn't shot in order, so that doesn't make any sense, but I mean, I feel like people were watching other people give their performances, and they're like, fuck it, if this is just going to be all caricatures doing whatever, I'm going to go big. I'm going to go real big. I'm going to go bigger than they just did. So every character that comes on screen, we go from, like, Jack to then Salah's character, and then we get up to this cowboy that comes to visit Jack's shop.
Where's Jack?
Yeah, the septic tank works great.
Everybody, and then Jack's assistant, like, everybody is just chewing the scenery and going as big as they possibly can. We're going blowout, they said to themselves, I'm guessing. So we established that Jack is from the Middle East. His assistant is, I assume, as well. Can't really speak English. And he kisses this, the cowboy guy, I guess in a gesture of, like, welcome and friendship, as they do in a lot of other countries. And the cowboy goes, Don't
kiss me again unless you're prepared to die.
Don't kiss me again unless you're prepared to die. Homophobic much? So far, most of this movie is completely acted in shouts. That's the best way to put it. They figured,
This isn't your country, you damn foreigner! Get him!
Fuck it, just scream. The sound guy must have had an easy time picking up. They might have had an amateur sound guy, so they were like, hey, let's just make sure that everybody is shouting so that we can pick up all of this. Because everybody is just loud. Literally, not only is their performance itself figuratively louder, but it is literally louder too. It is fucking madness. So all of a sudden, Jack was supposed to make this deal with the cowboy guy, doesn't work out, and then the cowboy guy leaves because he's going to go make, I think, a deal with Salah's character with somebody else because he gets a better deal on bulk antiques or some shit because Jack needed this to pay the bills. By the way, I don't know, I think we already had established at this point in the movie that Jack is basically a deadbeat. The family can't pay the bills. They're on the verge of collapse. He has like 5 fucking kids. It's all going to go to shit, so he has to make this deal with this guy, this dude, to sell a bunch of antiques, which I guess falls through in this scene, and then somehow they wind up in the fucking sewer.
Shut up! What the hell, a cowboy?
And then, the cowboy guy hits fucking Jack's assistant with his car. And he's covered in shit. This movie, things just keep happening. Doesn't matter what the fuck it is. I feel like no idea was off the table. The only ideas that were off the table were ones that weren't in budget. But if they could find a way to do it and they had the money for it, if somebody had an idea in the writer's room or around the tables, they were just like, yes, we're going to write this shit in. Yes, 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 yes. So they're in the sewers, yes. Insane cowboy guy, yes. Robot that talks, yes. Middle Eastern insane offensive stereotypes, yes. What else can we check off? Oh, by the way, I don't know if anybody had noticed at this point, but the robot kind of reminds me of Mort Goldman or something like that. To me, it seemed a little on the line. I'll let you figure it out for yourself. but it's, to me, it was borderline offensive. Why poop man on car hood now?
Get that varmint off the windshield!
How poop man not die from car collision?
God, I'll get him off myself. Get him off of there! The swear swallows side to side there!
I had this question repeatedly, but I wrote it down. Why is Gold Digger programmed to be the most annoying thing in the fucking universe?
Blind mice, see how they run free. Ah, my twin brother. Daddy, I didn't know you made me a brother. By the snow, everywhere that Mary went, Mary went, Mary went. This is a Tiffany lamp, very expensive. Tiffany.
Dialing 911.
It doesn't shut up. Like, you figure you could tell the robot, or you might want the robot to shut the fuck up, but it never shuts the fuck up. It just continuously blathers. If you want it to stop, it's not gonna.
Oh, hi, kid. Hey, who wants pizza for breakfast? Pizza, kids, pizza! I need pots and pans and dough and flour. First, I'd like to make a toast. Whoa, your energy!
And you might have it, you might hear it once you're done watching the movie, like me. So I guess by this point we kind of find out that this movie is about two antique dealers that don't get along and who have a competition, and they're looking for something. There's this subplot about them with statues and a gold statue and a not gold statue and like an auction. This movie's about two antique dealers that don't get along with each other for some reason. That's the real, I guess, that's one of the many plots slash subplots that is going on here. So Jack is at home with his kid, and this kid is on, like, sitting there, like, on a phone call, like, intercepts a phone call for Dad.
No.
Hello? Universe Antiques?
Tell him, Alec.
From bill collectors.
The electric company. Something about your bill?
And he has to find out that his dad is a fucking deadbeat.
Tell him I'll pay him tomorrow.
My father says they said they're gonna turn off the power.
And doesn't even seem to care. The dad doesn't seem to care to mention around this kid that he's just a deadbeat, can't pay his bills.
Hello, yeah, it's Jack Shamir. Yeah, no, I'm gonna pay you tomorrow, yeah. Thank you.
And this is fucking depressing. Honestly, like, that's really fucked up and sad. This movie's just like, yeah, dad's a deadbeat, kid's in on it, whatever. So after the bill collectors call and threaten to shut off the power and the kid tries to help, they shut off the power literally seconds later.
We're gonna claim our reward.
Look, Isaac, we can play hide and seek now.
There's just so much going on in this movie. By now, my head was starting to hurt. By the way, not only is Gold Digger continuously riffing and not shutting the fuck up with terrible, like, sentences, but he's also singing children's songs constantly and nursery rhymes and shit like that. And again, kids movie, but I feel like they just were paying lip service to the fact that this was a kids movie by making that robot say things that kids would like, but then also then going and doing things that are terrible, that don't have anything to do with kids or kids liking him. There's no consistency, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. So then Jack goes to see this doctor, who's apparently a master plaster caster.
Oh, Dr. Playan is the best bone cutter in the business. He's a master plaster caster.
And the sound mix, like I was saying before, in this doctor's office is fucking ridiculous.
Oh, careful, excuse me. You have to go
you tell doctor,
no showers, no baths.
All of the levels are exactly the same. There's no distinction between background noise or people talking in the room and Jack. So you lose him in the sound mix, and it's just, you're just struggling to make sense of. Again, by now, my head was really getting a real thumper right here. By the way, actors keep speaking over one another. The dialogue lines are not you speak, I speak, you speak, I speak. Like, normally you try to make there be some kind of space in between actors giving dialogue so that you can properly sound edit. But these actors are just speaking over one another, and I don't know if that was done intentionally in the sound edit, but they should have, like, given people time to space out and speak, or maybe when they actually shot the film, there was no space. I don't know. Everything is just crammed on top of one another, and it's so fast and so confusing. Dulls your head, and you sit there, if you don't stop paying attention or pausing it every once in a while, I shit you not, you're gonna get a migraine. So Jack starts talking to the receptionist, who goes on to talk about this doctor's apparent helmet fetish.
Well, he's got a lot of impressive hobbies, but his favorite hobby is Persian arts. Oh, yes. Oh, he's an expert in it. Particularly helmets. He loves helmets.
And I guess this is where you find out that there's a connection to that helmet in the beginning, because now she's mentioning helmets, and the dude likes helmets.
Are you familiar with the sacred helmet of Suleiman the Magnificent? Of course you are. Its recent theft has started a holy war. The blood which will be shed over this helmet will make it one of the most valuable artifacts in the history of the world. This excites me very much.
So there's gotta be a connection, obviously. Real good writing. Why would the fucking nurse talk to anybody about that? Why would she bring that up? That's like personal information about the doctor, but again, why would you randomly just bring up a helmet fetish with somebody? And that's essentially how she's talking about it. The doctor knocks out Jack with a sick-ass headbutt. Because I guess he's bad? And the robot, at some point, tells the uncle or the assistant that he has to learn English, which is pretty fucking racist.
Poison?
Poison?
Poison.
Oh, poison. Poison بخورم.
It is time for you to learn English. This is a Tiffany lamp. Very expensive.
Tiffany. So then the doctor looks like he's gonna break fucking... I guess he knocked Jack out and he's in a chair now, and he looks like he's gonna break Jack's fucking toes with his forceps.
I think I can fix it.
This is supposed to be a children's movie, and this is like, he's about to torture this fucking dude. Like a mob film. What the fuck is happening here? So Jack wakes up to the receptionist, like, molesting him in his foot like a weirdo, and we find out that his foot is in this giant plaster piece.
Bernini.
And I guess that's what we meant earlier by Master Plaster Caster. I didn't know exactly what the fuck was going to happen from that. But now he has a giant... I guess he has broken toes in there from a forceps, or maybe he doesn't. Like, they allude to that, but they don't really conclude anything. So now he's just clubbing around. So then we finally find out that Gimli and the Doc are working together in... well, they go to take a steam room soak, or a steam room chill together. And that they're working together to get this helmet from the beginning, which I guess we could have supposed as soon as we found out the doctor had a helmet fetish, because, you know, great writing. For some reason, nobody's allowed to see the helmet once the dentist has it. Like, none of this shit. Like, they just wrote things. We get, like, Jack doing some crazy kung fu shit for some reason.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, just keep checking these things off the list that people thought of. Doesn't matter. They just threw, like, they had a fucking idea wall and were throwing darts. This movie just cuts from scene to scene. I mean, it has some progression, but there's no logic to it necessarily. It just happens. It happens at you. Then we cut to Gold Digger telling Jack's kids a bedtime story about the 3 little pigs, which we all know very well. But then he, like, throws in shit about the pigs being on unemployment and a bunch of weird shit.
Any little piggy, he always wanted to play. And the fat one, he didn't want to work at all. He just wanted to sit around and collect his unemployment check. But the 3rd little piggy, he worked very hard.
Gold Digger just adds nonsense to stories. He does this all the time. Like, he'll tell something, add unconnected or unreal details. Whoever wrote Gold Digger's dialogue was on shit tons of cocaine. A suicidal amount of cocaine. We're up to, so far in this movie, Neil Breen levels of inexplicable shit happening. One of the only other directors or people that have made movies where I have loved it because I'm so perplexed at what's going on screen. My brain can't handle all the different shit going on. So, and it just keeps having questions, and then the questions build, but they never get answered. They just keep having more questions. This is another movie like that, I guess, in that vein. We also see that Gold Digger can't tell the difference between, like, a real threat or legitimate danger ever. So how is he supposed to be a protector robot? And he's always, like, fucking killing cops and innocent people or shocking them. Gold Digger is bad at everything he was designed to do. He hasn't found gold successfully. He keeps finding other things. He hasn't really successfully protected anyone. I mean, I guess you could say he protected the car in that one scene, but he shocked a city official to do it. Not one thing that he was designed to do does he do well. Unless he was actually designed to be an annoying asshole. Then he's doing that perfectly. An example being, then he puts a portable, back then they had like little portable TVs, he puts one of those in the microwave and almost destroys the fucking kitchen.
TV dinner.
Sure, one TV dinner coming right up. And kids, don't forget to share. Now you can watch cartoons with your dinner, Richie, but don't eat too much.
And then he kind of does at one point with the kids. They start making food or something and there's shit everywhere. I would be furious. Robots are supposed to help.
Uh-oh, sell it as an antique. Now for the pizza, we need flour.
So many.
Something to mix them in. Everybody get down on the floor and make fun. Don't call Mommy yet, kids. We want this to be a surprise for her.
And he was supposed to help. Specifically, that's what he was designed for. And he's like doing the exact opposite of that at every given moment. So Jack brings his kid with him to go purchase another statue at this auction house and brings the kid in the front door and immediately tells the guy that's guarding the front door, that's like the receptionist, hey, watch my kid.
Alex, stay here. Don't talk to anybody, all right? Be right back. Watch my kid, please.
Like, you can just immediately see somebody be like, hey, I don't know you, watch my kid. They could just take the fucking kid. Or somebody else could take the kid. And why do you know, how does it confirm? He doesn't even confirm with the guy. He just walks by, like, hey, watch my kid, bye. I mean, I guess people do that, but they're terrible parents. So if you do that, you're also a terrible parent. That's how you know, right now, I'm telling you. You're a terrible parent if you do this. Again, we seem to be sticking to the directorial notion that something has to be happening all the time, or we're not making a movie.
Straight.
MC squared that,
Alex, don't touch
I'm
Goldie.
running
Very
out of
dangerous.
power.
Very
Please
dangerous.
change my
Yeah, he's gonna be
capacitor.
Like, there's no nothing. It's just always something. Like, it kind of gives you a claustrophobic or nervous or anxiety feeling that there's no refuge from the fact that there's something going on constantly. It's just a barrage or an attack. You feel like there's nowhere to hide. I mean, sometimes, in a lot of other movies, any movie that's made decently or well or at all, usually, there's brief respites or pauses or some kind of pause in the action. If it happens here, you don't even feel it because it's always just a constant barrage of shit just smacking you in the face. So all of a sudden now, Gold Digger has a bunch of, like, robot spawn. He has a bunch of robot kids.
Japanese robot, this is good. This is Japanese toy, please buy it.
Hello, my name is Gold Digger, and I am made in the USA. Come with me and we will find your daddy.
Somehow this just happens. He has a bunch of robots, which are obviously shitty toys, and they even think they might say that to themselves, but they're just his blind followers or his kids or something. Oh, please. Oh, please. Please. Oh, God. Just to prove my point earlier that there's no sense to what's going on, no rhyme or reason, no thought, and no construction to this, and that the writing was just a bunch of shit. We get a scene on a street corner where a Hare Krishna, a blind man, and a Jewish Orthodox man fight each other.
This muslin, I could get you 3 pieces corduroy. Wow, what is this? Who is this guy?
Somebody please help me. Somebody please help me. Help me. I'm gonna die. Oh man. Okay. Say what is this, man? Is this a Rolex? No, it's a Rolex.
What are you doing?
I think Gold Digger's there for it. I don't even know if Gold Digger's there for the whole thing. It just fucking happens. And then we get a brawl out of these 3 dudes on the street. Like, it starts out as like a misunderstanding or a joke, and we just get a fight, and that's a scene that happens in this movie. That's something that goes on. That didn't get cut. Doesn't do anything. I guess it's supposed to be a joke. I guess it was supposed to be funny. I'm just left confused. What the hell was this? What was any of this about? Why did I do this to myself? So Gold Digger then just electrocutes them or something. He electrocutes some dude from coming into the fray.
Hands up, or I'm gonna tickle you.
And then electrocutes the blind dude for some reason, who then can fucking magically see.
And your money, my friend.
Oh, thank you. My money. I wish I could see you. Thank you.
Your wish is granted, blind man. Have a nice day.
My eyes, my face. Oh, I can see. Oh, I can see.
I guess that's just something they had to throw in, because why not? And that's, I guess, the logical joke that if you're blind and you get electrocuted by a stupid-ass robot, you're going to magically regain your sight somehow. And that's what happens. And guess what happens then? I bet if you have this movie and you're going to watch it, spoiler alert, something crazy happens. He then immediately gets hit by a fucking truck.
Public enemy number 1 has returned.
Blind man gets in a fight, gets shocked by Gold Digger, miraculously gains his sight, and immediately gets killed. Yeah, so that's what happens. Gold Digger's now randomly walking around the streets, and he comes upon this little girl who's got a broken doggy toy.
Yeah, what seems to be the problem?
I dropped my dog. Could you fix him?
That he just fixes for her, because I guess that's another one of the things he can magically do.
I can fix anything. I'm a toy myself. Ah, piece of cake. Don't. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll fix your doggy and let him go.
And he says some harbledy-garbledy fucking stupid shit while he does it, and sings a song or whatever, and it makes you want to fucking hurl, and then he fixes this little girl's toy dog, which is heartwarming and cool, but again, it comes out of nowhere, makes no sense, and it's just something that happens. By the way, the little girl's voice is definitely ADR'd as a grown woman. Like, this is supposed to be a little girl, but you can straight up tell, and they barely even pitch changed it. It is a grown woman's voice, ADR'd over a child.
Hi, Mr. Robot.
Obviously, they had a fucking little girl on screen. They, for whatever reason, were not capturing live audio, but they couldn't get that girl or any little girl back in for an ADR session. Probably just not going to happen. So they got an adult, obviously an adult woman to do it. It's fucking nutty. Gold Digger happens into some dudes playing shell game with cards.
Yo, we got a Taurus here, man.
Wanna play? Yes, I am programmed to play over 200 games. I like it.
Obviously, he's a robot, so the one thing he can do is be a robot and compute things, so he keeps beating them. He's like, I'm programmed to play games, so I will play you in a game.
Remember, red wins, black losers, man. You know what I'm saying, man?
Oh.
What's up, man?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think that it is this one.
And he beats these guys like multiple times, wins their money. They accuse him of cheating, even though they know he's a robot, and he's gonna, or maybe they don't. I don't fucking know. It's unclear. I guess what they think is gonna happen though if he's a robot, and of course this robot wins like constantly. He wins once, wins twice. If that happens, obviously he's gonna win a third time. He does, takes the money, and then these dudes are like, "You're cheating," and then he just shocks them.
Do not cut, guys, or I'll have to tickle you. I won again.
He's like, "I'll give you a little tickle," and he shocks them. All of the cocaine. Somehow, as Gold Digger's walking around town, he does finally get noticed by the news media, and he's reported as a spaceman.
There have been several unconfirmed reports of a flying saucer and metallic alien being wreaking havoc on the streets of New York this afternoon.
A bubble bath is just what I need.
Which I guess is as close as anybody could come when you're looking at him. It's unclear exactly. I guess he looks like a robot. Like somebody had no ingredients and just decided they wanted to make the Tin Man with gold spray paint and a bunch of plastic garbage. But yeah, Spaceman. Fuck it, why not? We get a great line. It might be my very favorite line of the entire movie. So everybody's been captured. The kid, Jack, and Gold Digger have all been captured, I believe, at this point, but maybe not yet Gold Digger. He's going to be. And Gimli is about to dunk Jack and his son in a vat of molten gold.
I don't want to worry you, but the temperature of molten gold is 860 degrees. You should look very nice plated.
And we get an ADR line. Of course, it's ADR. We get an ADR line from Jack that goes, "You kill me, I'll sue you!"
If you kill me, I will sue you.
Might be one of the best things I've heard in a long time. And I genuinely laughed my ass clean off at this point in the movie. That was really funny. But also, we want to mention here that Gimli wants to also not only kill Jack by dunking him in, he wants to also kill his son.
Father and a son should remain together.
No, let my son go, Eli.
In death as in life.
Damn you, Eli!
So finally, Gold Digger shows up. He gets captured, but he finally shows up because there actually is gold.
So this is where Eli is. I also detect gold.
He's been unable to find or say that an object actually has gold. He finally finds gold, finds them, gets captured.
Gold Digger!
Daddy, Alex, I will save you. I've got you now, Eli. The symbol for gold is AU.
Don't worry. You got more brains than your trousers. Getting hot?
Everybody gets away from the situation. I forget if Gimli goes to jail or not. Who really cares? I think he might even get away scot-free from all this. Gold Digger has with him the head of that statue from earlier that the dentist guy was beating apart.
Why won't anybody believe me? I found gold.
Inside, of course, is the helmet of Solomon. They established something like that earlier, that it's in the statue. They couldn't find it, but we know it's still there. We get back to the house with Jack, and again, destitute. They're about to have their house like repossessed by the bank.
Loan number 765563057, $375,000 property loan.
Gold Digger comes up. He's like, "Daddy, Daddy, I found gold. I found gold." He's like, "Shut up, Gold Digger. I have to do this shit where we're gonna lose our house."
Daddy, I detect gold. Gold, Daddy, 24 carats. Not silver, but real gold. Gold, Daddy, 24 carats. Not plaster, real
No, Gold Digger. Not gold. Not gold.
Drops the fucking statue head, busts open on the ground, and lo and behold, it's got the helmet in it, and everybody's saved. And today.
Whoops. Now do you believe me, Daddy? You see, it is gold.
Dad! Look! Dad! That's the Imperial helmet!
This day is saved. It's a la Goonies. Very Goonies-esque. because in the same way that they pour the diamonds and other jewels out into the bag at the end of Goonies to save the day, in the same exact way, that happens here too. So I guess they ripped off the Goonies and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids to make this piece of shit. So, that was Robot in the Family. It's one of the most insane movies I've ever watched. Had to watch it twice again and still couldn't remember it all. It sucks, but also it's funny as hell because it's one of the most wildly shitty, so bad it's good movies I've ever seen in my life. So if, I don't know, would I say you should watch it? Probably. I don't think this is out there on digital in any form. There's not really a lot of this out there. I don't think it was ever put on anything other than VHS. Happened to get myself a copy. Very worth having if you could find one. Could be rare for all I know, but in terms of it not being around anymore, I can see why it's not, because I bet Joe Pantoliano, in a George Lucas kind of way, went around trying to find every last copy of this movie and destroying it so that it never got out there. But I'm going to make sure it does, because this movie needs to be talked about. So yeah, that was Robot in the Family. If you can find yourself a copy, I would definitely watch it, even though it's going to hurt a lot. It sucks, but again, that's what I'm here to do. Watch these shit movies for fun. Coming soon, a little bit more, because we're on lockdown. There ain't much else going on right now. So hopefully I'll have the opportunity to make a couple more videos here in the next few days for all of you lovely people to enjoy. If you like what you see, you know, do me a favor, like and subscribe it. And
thanks for watching Video Hell Show. You stay safe and healthy out there, America. Wash your fucking hands and stay inside. Have a good one.
Wow, man, what was that?
Flashing bulbs and lights, prototypical device with a rhythmical mechanic fun. Bulbs and nuts and parts with a digit-coded heart, a metallic cybernetic hunk. Get ready for the action. Align the machine, get it ready for a spin. All systems check, such a nice little piece of high tech.